Okay, there we go. So some thoughts this morning. Not sure where to file this just yet. Enlightenment, perhaps. Further enlightenment. But anyway, realizing um, essentially Christ was not a person, it was a concept. The concept is that only through suffering can we achieve, well, for lack of a better phrase, more aligned with reality, enlightenment. So through suffering, we learn if we have an open mind, and by exposure to suffering, we learn enough that we figure it all out. And so, yeah, Christ was not a person who died for everyone's sins so that they could be forgiven. Christ is a concept wherein you become aware, self-aware, inner-aware, and observe and learn from that which you're exposed to. And if there's a great deal of suffering, then it will cause enough self-reflection that people will come around and become enlightened. And this is what the Renaissance was, and why it was so closely tied in with religion, both as the causal agent both of the start and sustaining existence of the Dark Ages, but also the was credited with in part with the Renaissance, which in fact was the complete opposite of the Renaissance of religion. It was individual thinking through self-reflection, which resulted in dispelling all of the myths of religion. So this is not to say that there's anything bad about the belief systems fostered by religion. What's to say is that they are misguided, to use one phrase, or to use one aspect of what happened. They lost their way. The purpose was lost and misconstrued by subsequent generations of keepers of the faith, if you will. And religion was distorted from a very valid, very useful belief system and guidance to what it has become today, which anybody who does any good measure of self-reflection would recognize has exactly, as I said, strayed from the path, strayed from the purpose. So I think, I'm so tired. I'm very ill right now. I found out that I am what I am allergic to. One of the major food components, the things that make up food, the ingredient, if you will, the common component that I'm allergic to, and much of the food that I'm allergic to is phytic acid. And phytic acid is present in all grain unless the grain is soaked sufficiently. So I'm going to have to limit myself to soaked rice. Corn or masa is soaked, but I'm having problems with gas with masa for some reason. So I think that might be the line, but I'm not sure. It doesn't make sense. No, that's actually a good source of calcium for me. I'm going to have to reevaluate that. But it has been causing problems with gas. And I am actually practicing my first bit of post-enlightenment medicine. This is medicine I am predicting will carry us into the next stage of human evolution, our next period of enlightenment, which I hope, if I have any influence over, I will make sure is a forever lasting epoch to use the term Carl Sagan used quite extensively. I apologize for losing track. I'm going to review. Okay, fortunately there's review capabilities. Quick and dirty. So my first bit of New Age, New Era of Enlightenment, post-Enlightenment medicine. I had woke up this morning about 3:40 with cramps in both my calves, dorsal calves, the dorsal muscle in my calves. I don't remember the name of the muscle, Achilles muscle, I don't know. With the dorsal muscle in my calves, both of them cramped up pretty hard, and I felt very deficient in certain minerals. I wasn't sure which. So I popped online and did some research into symptoms of calcium deficiency, because I had taken magnesium, and I did research into cramps symptoms, and it suggested potassium, magnesium, or calcium deficiency. I had been addressing potassium and magnesium, but I had not been addressing calcium, so I did some further inquiry online and into other things, and my curiosity got the better of me, and I realized that buckwheat, which I've been eating as a viable grain, contains significant quantities of phytic acid, as does cocoa, which I had been eating also. Anyway, I bought myself five minutes. So yeah, I'm practicing my first bit of post-enlightenment medicine. So I did some research on calcium content of various foods to supplement my calcium. So I'm going to be adding basil, very, very dried, very old basil, because I only need the calcium, and thyme, and garlic to my ground pork with extra added fat in it this morning for breakfast. That'll be supplementing my calcium. And in the future, when I get fish, I'm going to be cooking the bones down and making my own calcium supplement and adding that to my food, not as a pill, just add it directly to my food. So that is my new practice of medicine. That is diagnosis of calcium deficiency. Yes, I had to use the internet. I'm going to acquire, I need to acquire some medical reference books. Diagnostic manuals would be very, very nice to have. Otherwise, I might just download some websites, write some software, and go to some seemingly reliable diagnostic websites and download a sample of them and save them to hard drives. Be good to have for future reference. Books would be ideal, however. And I will try to acquire as many of those as possible through libraries, book sales, etc., etc. And since I still have 4 minutes, I'm going to go over another thing I've done, which is to finally figure out an optimal propeller design for both wind and especially underwater. I was going through how to maximize lift by looking at a profile. This is the center of rotation. This is an isometric projection. Center of rotation as you go out on a propeller. And I initially looked at it this way, and I looked at the sections of the various parts of the propeller. And in looking at that, I realized, why does the Navy have a design where there's a disc where it's all blocked out in the center? So I drew that diagram, which in I'm sorry, you can't see any of this. You still can't see any of it. But anyway, so the U.S. U.S. military, the Navy submarine has the center blocked out on their propellers, and the blades come out. They're about like that. I would say about 50%, something like that. And that's supposed to be a very optimal design propeller for underwater. Yeah, and so I got to thinking, okay, well, why would that be? Oh, well, if you have the intersections of the wings are designed, of the propeller, as you go in on a standard propeller with the propeller blades all the way into the center, they have to provide more lift at the beginning. Well, more lift because they're rotating slower. To get a balanced amount of lift on there, you have to have more angle of incident, more curvature, etc. More, the characteristics have to be exaggerated for slower speed to get the same lift. And in doing so, you induce more drag. So you actually are lessening, you are actually cutting into your lift with the propeller blade being so far in towards the center. So you block out that center and you eliminate that area that has lift, or that has drag, relative to the lift provided by the rest. But the question is, where is that point at? Now here's the brilliance. Okay, that's easy. Anybody can do that. Anybody could figure that out. That's just simple mathematics. But where I'm going to go with this is that I'm going to try and get the data from the U.S. Navy on this, because I can derive from that data, I can derive the equation for lift, the accurate equation. I'll have to, pardon me for saying so, but I'll have to invent new math to do so, but I can derive an equation from that data. So I'm going to try and press the Navy for that information. I may not get it immediately, but I imagine if I make it to the North Pole that they might, hey, yeah, let's give them that data. So, yeah, reason I need to go out and accomplish things, huh? That's what I said. I'm going to try and post that video, try and edit it and post it back up, but I was saying in a video to do with Aaron Alexis how to make a dent in the world. And that's to accomplish great things, show off human potential.